You are listening to a free version of the Majority Report with Sam Steeder. To support this show and get another 15 minutes of daily program, go to majority.fm, please.
The Majority Report with Sam Steeder.
It is Monday, February 26, 2018. My name is Sam Steeder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, oral arguments at the Supreme Court of the United States in the Janus case as public sector unions hang in the balance. Meanwhile, SCOTUS protects DACA. DiFi snubbed by the California Democratic Party. Kudos to them. The Oakland mayor warns of an impending ICE raid. Meanwhile, FYI, we are no longer a nation of immigrants. Corporations drop the NRA as Trump continues to push arming teachers, and Congress quietly pushes reciprocity. Speaking of teachers, West Virginia teachers stage a massive strike in, of all places, West Virginia. More on the DCCC screw-ups, this time in Texas. And back in Pennsylvania, Supreme Court last week issued new congressional maps. Republicans weep. Well, a lot of this stuff, incidentally, was from the week that we missed. Obviously, not the Janus stuff, not the DACA stuff, and not the question as to whether or not the White House is big enough for both Kelly and Kushner. Trump wants his pilot to run the FAA. Yes, his personal pilot. You're a good pilot. I don't understand why you couldn't run the whole thing. And he also wants to execute drug dealers. And lastly, the tax cuts are working, ladies and gentlemen. Already, we are seeing massive amounts of stock buybacks by corporations to enrich their board of their board of directors and their CEOs. All this and more on today's program. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back from our respective vacations. You may pick up a slight accent from Matt when he hops on the mic.
Bonjour.
Oh, there you go. There, it's like he's dropping it in very subtly, but I pick it up. I picked it up as soon as you came into the office with your petit déjeuner that you were eating.
Oh my God, Sean tried to speak some French to him yesterday, and it did not go so well.
Well, I mean, Sean hasn't been to Paris in a while. That's probably why I didn't pick up on Matt's. Matt, well, let's go through let's run the horn here. Matt, how was Paris?
I really enjoyed Paris. I could have been there for another week.
Great. That's a great. And Jamie, where did you go? Did you go anywhere for vacation?
Yes, I went to a house upstate in Saugerties and banged out the first draft of my book proposal.
Wow,
which
good
is
for you.
Very exciting. And I came back on Friday and immediately read some of what I had written at a very cool reading called Witches, Sluts, and Feminists, organized by a writer named Kristen Corvette.
All right. Wow, that's impressive. Michael, what about you?
Allahu Akbar.
There you go.
I was in the Middle East.
You went to Qatar.
I went not to Qatar. No, I went to one of Qatar's mortal enemies. Actually, I was in the UAE. I was in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates.
I did not know that. What did you do there?
A lot of things that I probably shouldn't talk about.
Brand consulting?
Some brand consulting. I was helping clean up the Emirates labor image. It's just a little progressive strategy.
It's good.
You didn't tell anyone where you were going.
It's very secretive.
I did actually.
I'm not the only one who didn't know this.
Brendan,
I feel like none of us knew this.
I didn't
None
know
of
it.
us know.
Brendan, where did you go? Hold on, Brendan. Walk.
I went to Charlottesville. I visit my friend who's finishing up her book down there.
All right, good for you.
It's
I
a
did a little,
protest that you. Are you doing
I did a little.
doing a little stealth Brendan is alt-right joke there?
Well, I don't know. A little late to the game. I went snowboarding for a couple of days, and then of course,
that's awesome. Where?
Babysat the kids. Went to Utah.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we did
Hello.
4 days.
Hello.
Wait,
we basically covered. That's interesting. The geography. We went where, like
all
the
around.
south and the
Saw a
rural
couple of fans.
northeast. Really?
Yeah, it was one on the plane. One.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's really great. My kids. It's the only thing that like Mila will even for a moment just sort of look at me and go like, oh.
I have an ounce of respect.
Because I come exactly. Yeah, exactly. She just looks at me. She goes, "You know what? I have almost an ounce of respect for you now," and then it goes away very quickly.
You know, it was amazing when I was in Atlanta a couple months ago, and I literally was walking onto the campus where I was going to talk, and this guy, student, just walked up to me and he's like, "I love you" in Majority Report, and I was like, "Wow, we are being seen."
Oh yeah, of course. Now, if you do love to travel. Folks, we got a great way for you to do this. I mean, there's the biggest headache that I know that we've had when we travel is trying to find a place to stay, making sure that you're getting the best deal and obviously a nice place to stay. And now the thing is, to stay in other people's houses. That's basically it. Rental sites. And the easiest way to do this, instead of going to a bunch of different sites, I don't know, there's like a half dozen of these type of, maybe more, maybe there's a dozen. On tripping.com, one search lets you compare every home from the world's top vacation rental sites in one place to find the best deal on your perfect vacation rental. As you know, vacation rentals are better than hotels. They offer you more privacy, more space for everyone under one roof. If you are frugal like I am, you can cook at home. They come with fully stocked kitchens, extra bedrooms, and even hot tubs. And yes, there was a hot tub. All the comforts of home and then some. Best of all, at tripping.com, you can join the millions of travelers who find more savings with rates up to 80% less than traditional hotel rooms. So let's say, Michael, you're planning on heading down to spring break to Florida for spring break.
Yeah.
Because I know you do that.
I do. Sure.
There's a lot of times you say you're like, if I was back at college today and I went down to spring break, I could clean up down there.
I do more like serious spring break.
There you go. But you go to the beach, tripping.com. You want to swim in Lake Tahoe this summer? Tripping.com. Dreaming of sitting on the deck of a Smoky Mountains cabin? Tripping.com. This year, save time and money when you book the vacation home of your dreams with tripping.com/majority. That's tripping, tripping.com/majority. Find your perfect vacation rental, tripping.com/majority. So, okay, last week was CPAC. We're not going to play a bunch of stuff from there. We'll play a little bit of like sort of the choice moments. CPAC, as you know, is the conservative something convention. It's basically, and it's fascinating to me. There's nothing like this on the left. And people have asked me over the years, why is that the case? And it's because everyone likes a freak show. That's just the reality of it. The freak show garners more attention. Now, the downside is it legitimizes these people on some level. Although I get the sense that the legitimizers are somewhat more subdued in this era than in the past. But it's just a way, you have to remember that the conservative movement largely is a huge grift. And in many respects, if you look at CPAC as sort of like some type of cosplay, I don't know, like Comic-Con but just for really bad people.
Someone in the chat just said Comic-Con for fascists.
Yes, there you go. Comic-Con for fascists.
What is it? I'm sorry. Sunja Silva. That is a good line.
It is Comic-Con for fascists. And this is the way they get together, and they maybe they'll sell their stickers or whatever it is, or their memberships or their shows and this and that. And so it's relevant both in that sense, because you need to know that this is going on, and also because it's a freak show. Speaking of freak show, here is someone caught on tape. Our old buddy, Sebastian Gorka. Now, he's since blocked me and probably everybody on this show because we mocked him quite a bit. And here he is. He's walking around, and Mediaite's Caleb Ikarma, who is at CPAC, went up and introduced himself. Now, apparently, this is the Mediaite reporter. I think Gorka challenged to a duel because the guy had written something critical of Gorka. Now, he doesn't realize it. Gorka takes a moment to realize it, and you can only hear him mumbling. At one point, he says "F off," but
they went back and forth several times. This was like 6 months ago or something, and I think Gorka said I'll challenge you to a duel, and this guy was pretty funny. He's like, okay, yeah, great, no problem, and kept giving Gorka addresses and times, and Gorka was like, you're a fool.
Now
I would decimate you.
Now here's Gorka so angry that he almost karate chops him, just out of instinct. Watch this.
Vice President Pence is going to bump my feet. Okay, good. Media reporter. Right.
Oh, he almost hits him there. And now he gets into his face.
There are problems when you actually...
And he pushes him.
I'd be mad if Barack Obama... Because you're irrelevant. It's okay. You already majority gave it to you. You're the one that challenged me.
There you go. You're irrelevant. I'm not talking to you for another second.
He didn't even flinch.
Karate chop.
He didn't even flinch.
I'll give you a karate chop.
Here
we go. We got slow-mo this thing.
Awesome.
Slow-mo. Here we go. Karate chop. This is at 1/4 speed. And he says, yes, I'm that guy. Oh, wait, we missed it. Oh.
He really didn't even... That was very Kobe.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Total respect.
All right, but we're going to get into some news about Janice in just a moment. However...
God, Gorka's tall, and he still has so many complexes, huh?
Yep.
Imagine if he was short.
Folks, on this program right now, we have at least one person that we got through ZipRecruiter. Apparently, he's going to go on a little hiatus, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We got a real problem with other shows trying to poach people here. But ZipRecruiter gives, and ZipRecruiter may taketh away. Actually, no. It'll just replace. Folks, every business needs great people and a better way to find them. Something better than just posting your job online and praying for the right people to see it. Look, I've used this product, and it was amazing. We got so many amazing candidates through ZipRecruiter that it was actually, we had so many good candidates, it made it hard to choose. Fortunately, the system that they provide for you allows you to at least organize yourself. If I can do something that efficiently, it's because there's been a great tool. ZipRecruiter knew there was a smarter way. They built a platform that find the right job candidates for you. They learn what you're looking for, identify people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job. These invitations have revolutionized how you find your next hire. 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. We had, I mean, literally, I found maybe a dozen people who would have been great. ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. They even spotlight the strongest application you receive so you never miss a great match. The right candidates are out there. ZipRecruiter is how you find them. Business of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. Right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. You just go to ZipRecruiter.com/majority. That's ZipRecruiter.com/majority. ZipRecruiter.com/majority. ZipRecruiter, it's the smartest way to hire. And lastly, you guys have heard me talk about Movement, MVMT. It is the watch company. The two college dropouts, they started their own watch company. It's crazy how fast this company has grown. They have now almost 2 million watches sold in over 160 countries. They continue to revolutionize the fashion in the belief that style should not break the bank. They've even doubled their number of watch styles and now selling high-quality sunglasses and women's bracelets. I guess it was about a year ago that I got Nikki one of these watches. She wears it every day. It's a beautiful watch. The only difficulty I had was I have to go out and get a present now to match or do better than that.
Get another one.
Maybe I should get her another watch.
Just re-up.
She wear 2 watches. It's a beautiful watch. She loves it. And I'm not a big watch guy. I've never worn a watch on a regular basis. But I have seriously, they have very sleek styles. And, now people who wear watches, it's like an accessory. And I feel like
it's
in
pure
some ways like
fashion
an
statement
adult.
now.
It's a little adulty now.
Yes.
Maybe it's time for me.
I think.
But this makes for a fantastic gift. And you thought gift giving was all about Christmas, Valentine's Day. You know what? Here's a little tip. Give a gift for no reason.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Power
Casanova.
Power move. Our friends at Movement have put together the perfect interactive gift guide that will make your shopping painless. Whether you're shopping for him or for her, find everything from watches to fashion-forward bracelets, sunglasses, and MVMT's limited edition gift box. They're all curated by MVMT's in-house stylists with their trendiest pieces that your special someone will love. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmt.com/majority. mvmt.com/majority. Join the movement. Check it out. All right, let's get into this Janice stuff. We're going to be talking to a professor tomorrow. Oral arguments are happening today. I just want to tee this up for you. Janice, we spent a lot of time talking about Friedrichs. I guess now this is 2 years ago. And it was probably about 2 years to the day that, was it 1 year? When did Antonin Scalia die? Did he die last year?
No,
It was 2 years ago. It was during the election.
It was about March or April
of
2016.
2016. Okay. So 2 years ago.
I'll check our celebration text.
It wasn't right. It wasn't quite on the eve, but it was pretty close. To the eve of the deciding of the Friedrich case. The Friedrich case was a case brought by a California teacher who was arguing against agency fees. So back, I don't know, in the mid-'70s, there was a case, Detroit versus Abood, or maybe it was Abood versus Detroit, I can't remember. And in this case, the Supreme Court found that you could split up the dues that people who are in a closed shop are forced to pay to unions. Because here's the deal. An employer wants to deal with one bargaining entity. And particularly when you're talking about a municipality or a county or a state, they don't want to deal with negotiating with tens of thousands of employees. They want to negotiate with one entity. So it makes sense from the perspective of one of these entities to say, okay, we're going to deal exclusively with the union. Anybody who works here, the union's going to represent them. The Supreme Court found that you could not be forced to pay unions for their political advocacy. But in this Abood case in the 70s, they found that, however, there is a certain percentage of your dues that goes towards paying for people who are representing you in the negotiations. The lawyers, all that's involved, and that costs money and infrastructure. And then the ongoing dispute mechanisms and whatnot. So that was settled in the 70s. And of course, conservative justices really, the originalism, all of this, they are agenda driven. And when this case came up back in 2015, 2016, it was quite clear that the conservative justices, 5-4, were going to strike this down. Then, and I don't know if you believe in God or just fate or karma or humanity or just goodness.
Or only so long you could abuse your body with those meals.
All of those things or one of those things, or just good fortune, manifested itself.
Bad things happening to bad people sometimes.
Right. And Scalia wrapped up his very, very corrosive life. And
Not like Blake. You gotta do it. That's right.
So he passed away. The Friedrich case basically was then deadlocked 4-4, and the lower court ruling, which ruled that agency fees, that's what they call it when you have to pay for your agent, essentially, were constitutional. Then you've got this Janus case, and it is essentially the same case. It is a guy from Illinois who is who filed a lawsuit. He was a state worker named Mark Janus. He argued that he has a First Amendment right to avoid paying anything to a union that bargains on his behalf, that it's an infringement of his free speech because essentially, and this is going to be important in the conversation we have tomorrow in terms of the implications legally, that even the negotiations itself infringe upon his free speech, that they are that those negotiations are speech that counteract to his speech. Well, we're gonna table this because we're going to talk about it tomorrow, that part of it. But what it's going to do, because it's almost a guarantee that the Supreme Court is going to find in favor of this guy Janus. It's going to make essentially every state in the union, and when it comes to public sector unions, a so-called right to work for less state. And therefore, you're going to have municipal workers who are going to say, like, I don't have to pay any union dues, but they're still going to negotiate on my behalf. Yeah, I'll do that. Now, a lot of people will appreciate, like, oh, no, it's important because if the union goes away, then I'm going to lose a lot of money. But look, let's face it. Not everybody thinks in that collective way. I mean, if Michael saw some means in which to save a couple of bucks and dish it off on the people here, I mean, come on. Even Michael, we know that would go down.
Right.
Right?
And well, I mean, I'm the bad example to use because I'm actually looking for ways to do that.
Well, that's why you're a good example.
No, but I'm saying,
you're saying
like somebody who's actually just going to take it versus somebody who's actively seeking.
Right, that's true. Michael leans into that a little more. Michael would bring the case,
right?
In this instance.
I would be the guy who violates my speech. God damn it! How is this looking, Michael wise?
We need more pizza for debate night.
Actually, we do.
Wait, why are you wrapping that up and bringing that home? I didn't order it last time. I left a lot of money.
Cheap corporatist.
So, all right, but tomorrow, today are oral arguments. The real interesting questions here are going to be, how will unions respond to this? How will conservative justices craft their findings in such a way to prevent potential unintended consequences that may come from this case? So I'm just giving a little hint as to what we're going to talk about tomorrow. But contemplate this. There are a lot of restrictions on collective bargaining, both on a federal level and on a state level. You look at what's happened in Wisconsin in 2011. You look at things like, even like Taft-Hartley, things like wildcat strikes. If it is the case that your First Amendment rights can be violated by collective bargaining, it elevates collective bargaining to speech. And if collective bargaining is elevated to speech, that has a whole raft of implications about a state or a federal government being able to limit collective bargaining in any way. So these are the questions we're going to be asking a labor law professor tomorrow. So make sure you tune in then. But I know you will. People listen to the show on a daily basis. And which reminds me, I hope you listened to some of our interviews last week, because I don't know, I'm sure we did have once or twice, but I would say last week was one of our top 3 in the history of this show vacation weeks, with between Ellsberg and Aviva Chomsky and Rosenfeld. I mean, it was just a very interesting group of people that we had.
Yeah, you were getting ups from some anti-fascists on Facebook for the Shane Burley interview.
Oh, Shane Burley was one of the best sort of like interviews about the taxonomy of the right and the importance of the left. I mean, it was fascinating stuff. So check out last week. A lot of people listened to it, but if you were one of the few who missed it, I would check it out. Meanwhile, also in the Supreme Court today, and it doesn't really change anything, but it basically shuts down an opportunity for the Trump administration to prevent the ongoing federal court stays on the Trump administration's ability to shut down DACA. Now, this is a big deal because 2 federal judges have ordered the administration. This has taken place basically over the last, let's say, 3 months, that they have to maintain major pieces of the Deferred Action Program, Deferred Action for Children Arrivals, or DACA, while legal challenges move forward. Okay, and so there are legal challenges that are being brought by multiple states and Janet Napolitano, who was the Homeland Security chief in the Obama administration, who signed the program in 2012. I'm not sure what her standing is. I don't know. But these cases were brought in 2 different federal courts. And in the course of adjudicating these, and these cases could take months, if not a year and change, to be resolved, are over the administration's ability to sort of just willy-nilly decide they're going to roll back DACA. Like, there's no rationale. And it has implications for the states, I guess. That's their argument anyways. During those deliberations and during the waiting for the outcome of those cases, the federal judges basically said, look, we're going to issue a stay on most of the things that you want to roll back on DACA. This buys some time for those folks in certain circumstances. So this is good because, as you know, it's possible that in 2018, we're going to see a change in Congress. And you may see a lot more, an ability for a Democratic House to pass statutory language protecting dreamers, which will change the nature of the debate. And certainly if Donald Trump loses control of the Senate and the House, that's going to have even greater implications. So the fact that the Supreme Court did not reverse the stays means that there is more negotiating time. And everybody knows in negotiations, if you don't have a clock on you and somebody else has a clock on them, it behooves you. Meanwhile, out of California, and there's a lot of stories, and I don't know if we're going to get a chance to get to them today, about the move to the left in the Democratic Party. Which is not to say that there aren't institutions and politicians within the Democratic Party that are actively fighting this. And it's not to say that there aren't institutions and politicians in the Democratic Party who are pretending. But there's the fact that they feel they have to pretend, that's the way the politicians work. In California, Dianne Feinstein has been a senator of California for what like how many years? How many? I mean, I think like probably longer than maybe even Brendan's been alive. It's possible. And
no, she's only been, actually, I say only, but 1992.
1992.
So we've all been alive.
Okay, close.
But that's still that's quite some time.
Yeah. So California Democrats at their convention decided overwhelmingly not to endorse their sitting senator. She's been in the Senate for almost a quarter of a century, representing California. 2/3 of the party's delegates voted against backing her campaign for a 5th full term, and they supported Kevin De Leon of Los Angeles. He won 54% of the delegates' votes, just shy of the 60% needed to secure the endorsement. Feinstein received 37%. What will happen is, my guess, is that because of the nature of the primary process in California, both these two will run against each other in the general election. California has a jungle primary, and then they will revisit the endorsement process, and I would imagine then De Leon will get it. Feinstein, of course, has higher poll recognition and does better in the polls significantly. She has millions of dollars more than he does. But he has not only got the endorsement of the California Democratic Party, he's got the endorsement of the SEIU, he's got the endorsement of the California Nurses Association. The big question is whether or not he will get the teachers' unions in California. And if he gets those three unions, he has got the biggest sort of get out the vote force in the entire state. The interesting thing about De Leon, he has been able to straddle the line between the Bernie and the Hillary factions out in California. The Nurses Association, California Nurses Association in particular, very pro-Bernie. It's my understanding. Yeah. He was likely to be in Clinton's cabinet, I've heard.
Where? Like what?
Maybe EPA.
Oh, okay.
He was instrumental in passing single payer in the Senate. Now, with that said, he also knew that it was going to die in the House. But he pushed legislation mandating a higher share of renewable energy sources in the state, a universal retirement plan for low-wage workers, which apparently he persuaded the Obama administration to give him a waiver on because of ERISA. And, of course, Trump overturned that. So interesting development in California. Is it the bluest state in the country? I mean, it is, right? I mean, I think I
guess, yeah.
I don't know how you measure
by
that.
One metric. I mean, yes, I guess.
There's no reason why there shouldn't be someone like DiFi is just out of step with the party.
Interesting note. With the population.
Interesting note, too. I would just say in terms of age, there's a lot of people who say, Bernie Sanders too old to run. Bernie Sanders at the end of his first term would be younger than DiFi is now. She's 84.
Which is great. It's a good longevity regimen.
Yep.
It's like shilling for the NSA. And
Or
it's great for your health.
Or maybe the deep state has figured out how to make you live forever if you consistently vote in favor of allowing them to do really bad things.
You know what I should have known, like where we were as a country? I remember my mom and I were talking to this woman on like a train or something. It was like some type of family trip, and we happened to like randomly have a conversation with this, totally normal sort of like 38-year-old woman, and I have no idea how this came up. It might have been an election time or something, but we started talking politics, and she just was like, yeah, I just can't support Democrats. Because I just feel like, the way I grew up, and granted, like this woman's she's only in her 30s, maybe like early 40s is most, but she's just like, you salute the flag, you respect the troops. And she started talking all this stuff, and it's like, all right, whatever. And she goes, and another thing that I can't stand, France has the cure for cancer, and they won't share it. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, the French. They've cured all these diseases, and they just aren't sharing the technology.
Okay. Sounds like someone you really need to listen to.
We've kept in touch.
Yes.
A lot of the insights that I have on this show and my show derive from the conversations I have with her. I just thought that was so random. The French.
All right, let's talk a little bit about, obviously, we were off. Were we off? When did the Parkland shooting happen?
Happened Thursday.
Happened Thursday.
And
right.
So we did one show. Or no, it happened Wednesday,
and
then we did the show Thursday.
Right, okay. There has obviously been a tremendous amount of fallout from this, from what happened in Parkland. Not the least of which, it turns out that these high school students, some of them are incredibly gifted in articulating the horror that we have unleashed upon children. There has also been a commensurate pushback on a lot of these high school students. For instance, this is Erick Erickson, who has blocked me on Twitter, tweeting out that David Hogg, one of the kids, and this is, and they have like accused the different kids of being plants and FBI paid shills, and
Dinesh D'Souza's been on that beat.
Yes.
He really is.
And
just
here is
like
Erick
the
Erickson,
subhuman on the planet.
Yes, here is Erick Erickson arguing that one of the kids is a bully, and I guess there's a story that he links to that saying that one of these kids is a bully.
Is this like Oppo research he's doing on the kid and finding out he's like literally bullying his classmates, or is it more like he's bullying the gun lobby?
Is it the latter? Really? Nevertheless, let's say for a moment that the kid was a bully. Is he not? That would make his words about watching a horrific attack that killed 17 people in his high school, it invalidates that? I mean, that's just absurd. What has to go through your mind?
I would think after you saw a school shooting like that as a bully that maybe you'd think twice. Maybe that school shooting taught that kid a valuable lesson about
Here's
bullying.
how he is a bully. So now it turns out he's not a bully in high school. So this is not a story of a guy like, hey, this isn't a guy you should take his advice from, because he was beating up kids in the bathroom. He was picking on, a kid who had a speech impediment, and he pounded him into the trash can, and he burned cigarettes on him. No, it turns out that Erick Erickson,
good high-level bullying.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. No messing. This isn't just like, you hurt somebody's feelings. This is
this kid's in high school. So if you're going to bully, in high school. You got to do
it right. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And here Erick Erickson is complaining about he's using his status as a victim to inappropriately and ridiculously attack people while going unchallenged. And who is he attacking? Is he attacking, what bullies do, right? They prey on people who they perceive to have weakness in the given society.
Like conservatives.
Right? Well,
obviously,
like
the
for
most
instance,
victimized people on earth.
Now, he may be a survivor of the high school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Now, and of course, he is. He not may be. He is a survivor. But if you put in may, there's sort of some type of implication of like, well,
you don't want to turn off the people who think he might be a crisis actor in the first sentence.
Now, I know that if Erick Erickson was here, he would say, that's not fair. That's a rhetorical flourish. It's saying even though, but he doesn't want to write even though. A survivor of the high school shooting in Parkland, Florida, but he's using that position to avoid being challenged on his increasingly inane and hostile statements. He's using his position to bully others. Are you ready for this, folks? You want to hear the poor person that he bullied?
Oh,
this poor person who has no platform, no way to say anything about anything. He slandered Dana Loesch on television without challenge. Oh, my God. He accused her of a litany of terribles and a failure to support victims. He turns the NRA into murderers. All right, so there it is, folks. He is bullying Dana Loesch, who is who's paid I don't know how much money.
Significant
hundreds of thousands of dollars, do you think?
I think definitely hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Or could it be more? Of money to be a spokesperson for the NRA. And then the NRA, which is a multi-million-dollar business. But now, you're not going to believe this. He's on television bullying the governor of Florida, Rick Scott. Guy who pled the fifth, 42 times in his Medicaid fraud case. Now, Hogg will not blame the elected sheriff, apparently, according to Erick Erickson, which
75 times.
75 times, which is contrary to the ethos of a bully, apparently, to Erick Erickson. Like, he's not... David Hogg, he goes on television and he knows he gets to use what happened to him as a shield to avoid criticism.
Oh, my God. I wish
that's what bullies do, is they use what happens to them as a shield to deflect criticism.
That's right. Like, give me your lunch money because I got news for you. I am abused at home.
Yeah.
Therefore, you cannot criticize me for taking your lunch money.
My parents argue with each other viciously. Now, I'm going to give you a swirly because of the emotional turbulence of that. That was actually, I think that was a Key and Peele sketch once. Where like some nerd was like, why are you doing this? And he's like, maybe because I'm afraid of what I feel on the inside.
Erick Erickson, who once called a Supreme Court justice a goat effer, and then went on to be hired by CNN as a commentator.
He negged his way into a job.
Has reached the pinnacle of conservative aggrievement here. We are getting picked on as rabid ammosexuals. We are suffering ammosexual phobia from this high school kid who thinks he has the right to criticize us just because he lived through a mass killing event at his school. Like, only on the right can they actually find aggrievement in the least aggrievable situations. Only on the right. I mean, honestly, this is an art form for them because it is, in fact, their entire ideology. The emancipation of women, the progress in terms of civil rights, the idea of labor being empowered, the idea of gay people being married, the idea of Muslims just being able to walk around. It's all an imposition upon them. The idea of survivors of a horrible, horrible mass shooting, that they would be able to get to go on TV and complain with total immunity.
Total immunity.
About how the NRA promotes the sales of these guns.
They're using the fact that they're...
It's insane.
They saw their classmates have their bodies shredded apart in front of them by military-grade weapons, and now they just get to go on TV, terrorize Dana Loesch.
And make us feel guilty. Yeah. Make Dana Loesch feel guilty.
God.
They got to make... I mean, look. This is what I've been
finally
saying.
get it. You
this
know
is
what,
I've
Eric?
been saying about...
She's not into you.
This is what I've been saying about Rush Limbaugh for a long time. His one job is to say to his audience, if you have a moment during the day where you question yourself, where you question the privilege you have in society, where you question whether or not you maybe have been too quick to judge other people, if you question whether or not that your reaction to things is founded in any way of ignorance, if you question the belief system that you have been fed in any way, if you have that moment of self-doubt, I am here as a right-wing pundit to tell you they are wrong and you are right, you are good, they are bad. In fact, they are bad for making you question whether or not you are good. They're bad for making you even think about it. And if you think back on like every right-winger that I've ever even talked to on the show, that guy, Austin, what's-his-face, who was mad because Chopped, the TV show that he and his daughter loved, focused on a gay couple. I think it was a lesbian couple, and we had to see that, and now I can't watch Chopped anymore.
Yeah, they ruined.
I mean,
that was a bummer.
That was a real bummer.
That was tough.
It's not, hey, I'm too bigoted to actually watch this show, so that's on me. No, it's like, how dare you ruin my favorite cooking show by showing that two women could be married together.
Also, I mean, cooking shows. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Very, very alpha. If you want, we do have that bully sketch. If you want to play
what
it
is
for a
what
second.
is the bully sketch?
The one where the bully does just what you were joking
oh, okay.
about.
This is Key and Peele's.
This was pretty funny.
Comic relief.
Lesbo teacher I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Why you reading, bitch?
Because I like to read, and this is a really good book.
You're a really good bitch. Bitch.
Why you gotta bother me, man?
Because I'm not doing very well at school. I'm reading at a 3rd grade level. I really don't want to get left back. So when I see somebody reading for fun, it makes me feel that much more stupid. And then I get mad.
I didn't know that. Thanks so much for opening up to me.
Shut up, queer.
I don't understand. Why you gotta go there?
I've been having sexual fantasies about some of the other guys at school. What? Give me that. I'm afraid of these feelings and what they might mean. It's like because I hate myself so much, I gotta point that hate outward towards you.
Okay. You understand this on such a deep level that you...
I don't understand. Now I'm gonna punish you physically for acknowledging my emotional problems.
Wait. I was gonna say, if you understand yourself so well, then maybe you should try working on changing it.
Of course I want to change it. But it's the only defense mechanism I have against deeper, more terrifying problems buried inside of me. You're lucky my dad's here.
Get the damn truck, son. I need to take you home and beat on you because I hate myself. And you look like your mother who left me. And I'm gonna block out the guilt I feel over mistreating you with the river of vodka.
I'm gonna internalize that and unknowingly transfer it onto you tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Before we go into the fun half, which we're probably just going to continue doing some of this stuff. Before we left on vacation, one of the things that I was hoping would get more attention was the manufacturer of the gun. And more than we have seen, I think, in the wake of any other mass shooting event, tragedy, massacre, carnage, whatever you want to call it, I feel like, because I don't think that it was a particularly profound thought to think, and I've been saying this for a while, though, that we need to hold to account the individuals in these corporations who are promoting this stuff. You want to do this? You want to make your money by selling this weapon that has the ability, or that provides the perpetrators with the ability to wreak this type of horror on people, then you should be out there. You should be proud. And I would extend this to not just to these mass killing events, but also every time a toddler kills themselves or kills somebody else by accident, blows their face off by accident because they got a hold of someone's gun. Because certainly the technology exists that you could prevent a toddler from being able to shoot a gun. Like I can prevent my 12-year-old daughter from accessing my iPhone by putting a fingerprint thing in there. Certainly you could have that type of technology. Would it make the gun more expensive? Yeah. Sorry. Would it cut down on your sales? Yes. Sorry. But, I mean, if you're going to make a financial calculation as to, whether or not toddlers are going to shoot themselves in the face every day, or you're going to sell this weapon that is going to wreak this type of carnage, and without, let me say, any societal benefit. You can come back and you say, cars also kill a lot of people, and that's true. But what is the analogous benefit that society gets from these guns? There is none. It's not even close. And so if you're going to sell this basically death machine of choice, you should be celebrated as such. And here he is, James Dabney. He is the CEO of what is known as America Outdoor. What is it? America Outdoor, because it used to be Smith and Wesson.
It was Smith and Wesson, right?
Right. And now they call themselves America. They've changed the name of Smith and Wesson.
American Outdoor Brands.
American Outdoor Brands. Now, there's an interesting story as to why they changed the name to American Outdoor Brands.
What is that?
And that is because, one, they want to expand out of the gun business, because without a black president, gun sales had stalled. Fear of the race war, apparently, the fear receded, and the idea that you needed to shoot a deer with an AR-15 also receded simultaneously. What a surprise. But there's an interesting backstory. In 2000, Smith and Wesson, the waning days of the Clinton administration, made a deal to install safety locking devices in future handguns. They were going to devote 2% of their revenue to developing smart technology like the fingerprint thing. They also agreed not to produce guns that would accept magazines holding more than 10 rounds. They said that they would cut off dealers who are selling a disproportionate number of guns. They said that they would not put in civilian market large capacity magazines or semi-automatic rifles. They weren't producing any at the time, so it was a pretty easy commitment to make. So they didn't have to pull it back, but they weren't going to go into that business.
Sounds like cucking Weston.
The assault weapon ban was still in effect. But the point is, the fact that Smith and Wesson would make this type of agreement to say that we're going to voluntarily be proactive in our production of guns. And in return, what they would get would be increased liability protection. Because of that, the NRA announced a boycott of Smith & Wesson. And their sales dropped by 40%. Yep. So they were headed for bankruptcy. They apparently reversed course. 2004, the assault weapon ban was allowed.
That's like their competitors, basically, essentially, right? Like their other gun manufacturers punishing them for getting out ahead, right?
Of course.
It's amazing that they would make that deal as a singular company, that they didn't have other people go in on with them. I wonder what the thinking was.
Well, maybe they were thinking like, maybe there's antitrust issues here. Maybe we shouldn't, maybe there shouldn't be a, who knows? But you got to also remember, 2001 happens, 9/11 happens at that point. You have the Bush administration, so you don't have any like sort of air cover, as it were. And the assault weapon ban expires in 2004. They get out of their deal. They don't need it anymore because our government passed a law that provided them liability protection anyways. The 12 people murdered in that Aurora, Colorado movie theater, Smith and Wesson assault rifle. Good for them. This thing can really take out a bunch of people and really in any environment. And Dabney, 2 months later, told a gathering of investors, and this is coming from a piece by Michael Daly. I think this is in the Daily Beast. What we get excited about is that expanded user base and the level of social acceptance that we now see out there. Speaking about its weapons, it's socially acceptable to carry a firearm, more so than before. To carry a firearm for protection, have one at home for protection, go to the range to shoot as a pastime, as a hobby. Kudos for him for not mentioning bringing it to, let's say, a movie theater or to a school where you really want to kill people. But this is the business, and this is the guy, James Dabney. And he's made millions of dollars off of producing these instruments to kill teenagers and kids and other human beings.
Yeah, just everybody, actually.
Yep. So, kudos, buddy.
What was he formerly? He was the CEO of a bin company?
Yep.
Like a Tupperware company?
Yep.
Wow.
He was just headhunted to be the CEO. He had no previous background, and he went right to it.
This kid jumps into the pool. Thanks, Daddy.
Right.
He is a kid.
I've had a lot of conversations with people in the past week or so about what a socialist position on gun control might be. But looking at people like this and companies like this, I think we can all agree that this is capitalism run amok. And I might have more criticism of measures that target individuals, but on a corporate level, this guy is making tons of money off selling something that there is no reason anyone needs to be able to buy. It's a gun that exists purely to kill human beings. And I don't think it goes against socialist values to say, we should go after them on the corporate level, on the level of the people making millions of dollars off of this.
Absolutely. And honestly, like, if anybody has even one, I don't even think, like, wide, like, even remote value to society, to the production of AR-15s, I would like to hear it. I mean, I think, if you live in a rural area, and I know a couple of families who will shoot a deer, and that will be their meat for the winter. They will freeze it, and that will be their meat for the year. It'll take them through most of the year until maybe they raise a pig. It's a lot of that in October, and they get a mix of meat that way. I've known some people who shoot squirrels. You would not do any of that with an AR-15. You don't need to at all.
I like how you went Obama with that. Did you notice that? Like,
What's that?
I know people shoot squirrels.
Squirrels.
You went up on it.
No.
But I think I also
But
just...
my point is that, and so someone could call in and say, well, there are some families in the country who actually feed themselves through the use of their weapons.
I mean, my family has freezers full of meat that my dad has shot. But
right.
Yeah, like
murderer.
Well, I don't know. Maybe your family needs it, or I mean, the families that I know
that's a supplement. Yeah.
Matt's dad just enjoys
but that's
killing
fine.
animals.
But
that's
with that stipulation, what is the social benefit from an AR-15?
But can I just add? I just think though that the value, like I agree with you that there isn't a social benefit, and it's very important to have that conversation. But I think that, there's sort of three things. There's like a defining what is a sort of, there's room, I think, on the left for a debate about gun control and the role of guns in our society. And then I think there's getting away from, I just think strategically focusing less on like the gun culture issue and people who own guns and more so on these companies and how abusive to the public they are is more effective.
Oh, I agree,
It's
but I'm just
more populist.
It's more populist. No, I know you're.
My point is,
not
though,
contradicting
is that
what you're
it's
saying.
important to be able to address the question of corporations sell things that end up killing people and they use properly. Cars. Right. But I think, as much as there are social detriments to cars, we need transportation that has some redeeming social value.
Yeah,
medications will kill people, yes, in certain instances. It has some redeeming social value. There is none for these guns. There is none.
There's none. Well,
the right wing has taken it up as kind of a culture wars issue and convinced people that guns symbolize freedom and individualism and all this toxic American stuff. And while freedom's good, but in my opinion,
can't we come up with like some type of emoji that they could have instead for freedom? Maybe like a picture of a flag. Everybody carry on a picture of a flag. All right, look, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got a lot of stuff in the fun half. Just a reminder.
Squirrels.
Squirrels. Don't boo. Squirrels.
Boo. Don't boo about.
I feel like right-wing Mandela would like shooting squirrels with an AR-15.
That's just for his collection of squirrel tails, because that's all that would be left.
Yeah. Who is the guy? What is it? No, Davy Crockett. My fucking Davy Crockett hat collection.
That's raccoons.
Coons, right?
That's raccoons.
Right.
You're not
blow that heads off.
Squirrel hat.
Throw a fucking squirrel hat on.
Not really.
Whatever.
Folks.
What do you know, Joe?
This program. I know.
Yeah. I know. Handyman magazine show. Whatever it is.
Surprisingly large amount about raccoons.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure.
People would be very shocked.
I'm sure.
The depth of my knowledge about
YouTube
raccoons.
Channel.
Of course.
Folks,
you do.
It is our members who make this show possible. By becoming member, you make this show possible. Therefore, I say it's our members who make this show possible. You can become a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. And when you do, we say thank you by providing you hours more content a week. So generally, as you know, we have a long-form interview in the first half of the show. And then in the second half of the show, which we firewall, we get the really fun stuff. So become a member today. It's your support that makes both whatever. I mean, we couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for our members. Your support is the one thing that we can rely on, and it's the one thing that keeps us independent. We take advertising from places, and by all means, we don't advertise any products that we don't believe in. I use the vast majority
watches.
Well, but I mean, these are all products that I use.
That's true.
And there are certainly products that I would never promote, regardless of whether they work as advertised, because they're things that I'm not in favor of.
You can definitely tell when we've dealt with the ad brokers that we are the only show that asks certain things about certain services. Is the best way I'll put it.
I think that's true. And at first, they were sort of freaked out about it.
Right.
And now I think they realize, okay.
I think now they understand that that's how we maintain trust with our people.
But I'm not going to name any names, but Uber, when they wanted us to push Uber, I was like, no, I can't do that. And they're like, I don't understand why. I'm like, because I don't like their business practices. What? Like no one, I'm with some of those conversations, the early conversations was like literally two people who did not speak the same language, because I would say, well, of course we're not going to do Uber. And they go, what do you mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, it's Uber. And I'm like, yeah, it's Uber. And they would say but why wouldn't you do that? And I'm like, but why would I do that?
I mean, I'm a pretty big critic of lifestyle politics and woke capitalism, but if you did an ad for Uber, I would probably quit.
I just don't feel comfortable. There are certain things I just don't feel comfortable doing. Like in their financial services, there was like some type of like micro lending thing where you could like crowdsource lending, and I'm like,
but that was the one that was funny. Like Uber was sort of funny, but that was basically just like all of us being like, yeah, we're not going to do Uber.
I got on
the
a
micro
phone call.
lending one was like, you're like, is this overseen by the
I got on a
SEC?
call.
And the guy's just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
They do these onboarding calls. They call them onboarding calls, which is almost enough to like get me to say like, we're not doing this anymore.
We're not on board.
But it's also
definitionally we're not on board.
Right. It's fun for me to sort of like to learn some of this jargon. So I get on the onboarding call with, I don't know who it was, like if it's like the agency that represents it. I'm like, who is responsible for regulating this? And they were just like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I mean, what agency oversees this? Because it seems to me that there's a lot of opportunity for, like, that's a great question. Is that going to be important to you? And I was just like, I'm not going to pitch some type of financial services that is sort of just, people can do whatever. There's been moments. But look, the point is, become a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. Also, tomorrow night, don't forget, is TMBS.
Yes, a lot of stock tips.
A lot of stock tips. A lot of day trading tips.
That's
and
right.
Also, if you want to see which industries are going to pop on the major markets, always head over to Jamie Peck's Patreon, patreon.com/Jamie Peck. Folks, justcoffee.coop. It's fair trade coffee, tea or chocolate. We drink it in the office. I drink it at home. My favorite coffee shop upstate, they serve it.
That is really cool.
It is super cool, actually. I saw the package.
I like that a lot.
And it's also, it's a co-op, fair trade. It's a great business, and you get 10% off with the coupon code majority. 646-257-3920. See you in the fun app.
You are in for it.
All right, folks. 646-257-3920. See you in the fun app.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males are back. Boys back. And the alpha males are back.
Just as delicious as you can imagine.
The alpha males are back. Boys back. And the alpha males are back.
Just want to degrade the white man.
Alpha males are back.
I take all of it in my throat.
Alpha males are back.
Almost has what?
The alpha males are back.
You are a madman.
And the alpha males are back.
I am a total cunt.
Can we bring back DJ Dannerky's song, please?
Yeah, or a couple of them. Just put them in rotation.
DJ Dannerky.
Well, the problem with those is they're like 45 seconds long, so I don't know if they're enough of a break for people.
That's fucking nonsense.
Hey, folks, reminder.
I do not have Parkinson's.
And the alpha males are
psych. Fuck them. Almost has what?
What?
Almost has what?
Hell of a lot of bank. 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 Hell of a lot of bank.
All lives matter. Have you tried doing an impression on a college campus?
I think that there's no reason why reasonable people across the divide can't all agree with this. Psych.
And the alpha males are back. And the Africans are black African. And the alpha males are back. And the Africans are black.
You see Donald Trump out there, doesn't a little part of you think that America deserves to be taken over by jihadists? Keeping it 100. Can't knock the hustle. Come on! Fuck 'em. Fuck things I do for the bigger game plan. By the way, it's my birthday!
Happy birthday to me, Jew boy. I have a thought experiment for you.
And the alpha males are back. Africans are black. Alpha males are back. Africans are black.
Come on. What? Come on. What? Come on. Someone needs to pay the price for blasphemy around here.
I am a total pussy.